Enlightenment was an intellectual and philosophical movement that emerged in the 17th and 18th centuries. It was characterized by the focus on reason, science, individualism, and the pursuit of progress. Several key principles emerged during this period promoted by various thinkers and philosophers. Here are some of the main principles of the Enlightenment. Reason. The Enlightenment emphasized the power of human reason as a means to understand the world and solve societal problems. Thinkers such as René Descartes and Immanuel Kant emphasized the importance of rational inquiry and critical thinking in all areas of human life. Empiricism. Empiricism was the idea that knowledge should be based on observation, experience, and evidence. Empiricist thinkers like John Locke and David Hume argued against relying solely on authority and tradition and emphasized the importance of sensory experience in acquiring knowledge. Natural rights. Enlightenment thinkers including John Locke believed in the existence of natural rights inherent to all human things, such as life, liberty, and property. They argued that governments should protect these rights and that individuals had the right to revolt against oppressive regimes. Anti-absolutism. Enlightenment thinkers strongly criticized absolute monarchy and advocated for limitation of power of rulers. They questioned the divine right of kings and argued for the idea that political authority should be based on consent and welfare of the governed. Montesquieu's concept of separation of powers aimed to prevent the concentration of power in a single individual or institution that will be discussed. The social contract. The concept of the social contract proposed that the individuals voluntarily come together to form a society and establish a government. Thinkers such as Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau explored variations of the social contract theory, discussing the relationship between individuals and their governments. Separation of powers. Enlightenment thinkers like Baron de Montesquieu advocated for the separation of powers within government. They argued that dividing power among different branches, such as the executive, legislative, and judicial, would prevent abuses of power and ensure checks and balances. Freedom of thought and expression. Enlightenment philosophers championed the freedom of thought, expression, and speech as fundamental human rights. Voltaire, a prominent Enlightenment thinker, defended the freedom to express one's opinions even if they were unpopular or critical of the establishment. Progress. Enlightenment thinkers were optimistic about the potential for human progress and believed that society could be improved through reason, education, and the application of scientific knowledge. They sought to challenge traditional beliefs and customs that hindered progress and advocated for social, political, and scientific reforms. Free trade. The main Enlightenment thinkers supported the principle of free trade. They believed that economic progress and prosperity could be achieved through unrestricted trade between nations. Adam Smith, an influential economist and philosopher of the Enlightenment, argued that free markets and the removal of trade barriers in his work, The Wealth of Nations. Smith believed that allowing individuals and businesses to freely engage in commerce and exchange goods would lead to economic growth and providing higher living standards. Prominent Enlightenment thinkers who contributed to these principles and ideas include René Descartes, John Locke, David Hume, Thomas Hobbes, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Baron de Montesquieu, Voltaire, and Immanuel Kant, among others. Their writings and ideas had a profound influence on shaping the intellectual landscape of the Enlightenment period and continue to influence modern thoughts.